Remember Rennie saying is, I want to see sex in space.
It leads nicely on to my next question, really, which was, I believe this story does end up with quite another bold move for a writer in the industry, which was your experience of working on Alien 3. So just to paint a picture for anyone who doesn't know the story behind Alien 3, where you fit into the chronology, it was William Gibson's script. So William Gibson had written a script, and that was the script that then you came on board and were, I guess, presented with as the script to develop, work on, improve.
If you say so.
Okay.
Meaning some of the pedigree of these scripts in the script chains, you may know more about than I do. But yeah, there was another writer beforehand. I think it was William Gibson. I cannot remember anything about his script, except perhaps it was way too cyberpunky. Perhaps. Yeah,
I think the story. Well, as far as I know, because his script then got made into a graphic novel, so it found its way into the ether eventually. But it was a script that jettisoned Ripley quite early. As it's the big thing about that script. It was a script that lost Ripley, and as far as, and again, obviously you're the right man to tell me, but as far as I was aware, that was one of the things that was tasked to you, was to find a way to bring Ripley back, because Fox weren't happy about Ripley not being in it.
Yes and no. It goes like this, and it's quite a saga. It's like, how do I tell it concisely? But I was brought aboard by the producers, Walter Hill, David Giler, and those guys. And they said, so, and because they had read The Fugitive. And Walter Hill even wanted to direct The Fugitive at one point. So they were keen to bring me on board. So there I was. Rennie Harlan was attached to the director at the time. And all I remember Rennie saying is, I want to see sex in space. So I said, okay, we can do that. But there should be a larger story around that.
Yeah.
So I think in Gibson's, I can't even remember. But in terms of Ripley, they said, and we don't need Sigourney in it at the time. That was the feeling when I did my first draft. We don't need Sigourney in this because for whatever reason. I said, fine, I'll do that. So I wrote an escape story in space. There is an orbiting space station, and it's a breakout movie with aliens, right? And they're using the prisoners to experiment on with the aliens to understand the aliens better. And there's all kinds of jeopardy. It was a good action story. But then Joe Roth takes over the studio, Fox, and he reads the script. He says, it is a good action movie, but I'm not going to make the movie without Sigourney Weaver. And so I go back to the producers and our huddle with the producers after that meeting and says, has anyone talked to her? Said, no, we haven't talked to her. I said, oh, well, somebody ought to, because, that'd be the next step. And so for some reason, I got sent out to New York, just on my own, to talk to Sigourney. And I told her the story that we had, and I think she may have read the existing script. And I said, so if I can take the male character styles and turn that into Ripley with this conversion idea, this conversion idea, this conversion idea, is that something you'd be interested in? And at the end of a 2-hour meeting with Sigourney, she says, yeah, I think I'd like to do this. Of course, they're backing it up with $1 million offer as well. So she may have been predisposed. But so I remember getting on the plane, calling the producers from the plane and saying, okay, she's in, let's get going. So I wrote my second draft with Ripley. I think I wrote my second draft with Ripley. But before I'd finished my second draft, I heard that they had replaced the director and put on the New Zealand guy.
Vincent Ward.
Vincent Ward. Thank you. And that Vincent Ward was working with his writer on an Alien script. Now, this is while I'm writing my second draft with Ripley in it. And talking to Sigourney along the way, filling her in from time to time. So I called up the studio. And by the way, if a studio is allowed to engage two screenwriters at once, as long as they make it apparent, as long as there's full transparency, so that the writer can jump off a project or stay on if, in fact, it turns into a bake-off situation.
Right.
So I called up the studio, the executive of the studio, who is now a film critic, I think. Or no, he's a film producer now. And I said, so what is this about competing drafts of Alien 3? And he said, oh, no, dude, it's not that at all. You don't have to worry about that at all. You're writing Alien 3. Vincent, the director of Alien 3, is writing Alien 4. Yeah. So I said, this is horse shit.
You're not even trying. You are not even trying to lie.
It's not that, it's not only is it a terrible lie, but you're making me, you think I'm stupid enough to believe it. Wow. That's what's so insulting. That's what's doubly insulting. And so it's just treacherous behavior by the studio. So I slapped the script together and said, pay me. There you go. And I think that was the last I worked on Alien 3. So I probably did 2 drafts. Maybe there might have been a third in there. I'm not sure. That's what happened. And then Vincent Ward got kicked off because, in lieu of David Fincher.
Did you ever watch the final movie? Did you see anything that you liked about it, or did you see any of your work in there? In that,
I saw my name in there because, as an inside joke, all the monks. I didn't have monks in space. All the monks were named for all the previous writers.
Oh wow! I did not know that.
So I think there's an Eric and there's a David, and there may have been a Vincent for all I know. But if you look at those names, there's an Easter egg in the names.
Oh, that's great.